Hi class, welcome to our video presentation. Today we'll be presenting on one of the logical fallacies. Our first objective for today is defining what argumentation is, followed by what is a fallacy and what is a fallacious statement. Argumentation by definition is the act or process of forming reasons and drawing conclusions and then applying them to a case in discussion. A fallacy is an incorrect or misleading notion or opinion based on inaccurate facts or invalid reasoning. They are derived from reasons that is logically incorrect, thus undermining an argument's validity. There are many types of fallacies, and an example of one is a false dilemma. This type of fallacy occurs when someone is only given two choices for possible alternatives, when more than two exist. For example, in Latin America, only two countries offer travel and tourism options, which are Mexico and Guatemala. This is a type of fallacy because Mexico and Guatemala are not the only countries that offer tourism and travel options in Latin America. Fallacious statement is a statement that sometimes fools human reasoning but is not logically valid. They are very common and are sometimes difficult to evaluate whether an argument is fallacious. Today, we'll be learning about hasty generalization and oversimplification. Hasty generalization comes from the words hasty and generalization. The word hasty comes from the mid-14th century meaning speedy or quick. The word generalization was first introduced in 1761, which means an act of generalizing. Hasty generalization is a type of logical fallacy in which a conclusion is not logically justified by sufficient or unbiased evidence. The way to identify hasty generalization in writings is by looking for words such as all, everyone, no one, always, and so on. The word oversimplification is derived from over and simplification. The history of the word is that over is a word forming element meaning above or in excess. The word simplify is derived from the 1650s from the French word simplifier, which means to simplify. Oversimplification is making complicated issues seem very simple by using simple terms or suppressing information. Thank you for listening. Now you will be directed by my colleague on things you need to know about the logical fallacy, and you will be given examples of hasty generalization and oversimplification.
Hasty generalizations can also lead to various stereotypes, which I'll be talking about shortly. In this situation, hasty generalizations tend to take an uncommon case and make it into a general rule. Oversimplifications are caused by wanting to understand a complex problem by giving it a simple answer. This is wrong because it blocks us out from reality. In this first example, we have the statement that says, "The lady I met on the bus was from Dangriga. She was very rude. Therefore, all people from Dangriga are rude." This statement is false because it groups all people from Dangriga and it considers them rude just because of the actions of one person. The second example says, "A politician was caught buying votes. Therefore, all votes are bought." This statement is a hasty generalization because it assumes that all politicians buy votes due to the actions of one person. The third example of a hasty generalization reads, "Gang violence occurs in Belize City. Therefore, everyone in Belize City is a part of a gang." This example is assuming that since gang violence occurs in Belize City, everyone living there is a part of a gang. Clearly, this statement is false because not all people from Belize City are gang members. As we can see from these examples, they are very stereotypical. This is what we are trying to avoid when we make our sentences. The following three statements are examples of oversimplification. The first example reads, "People who pass tests are lucky." This is an oversimplification because it undermines the fact that people that pass aren't just lucky, but they studied as well. The second example reads, all poor people are lazy. This is a false statement because people work very hard to earn a small pay every month, yet they remain poor. The third example reads, dogs do not like cats. This is oversimplifying the situation because dogs and cats can be seen living peacefully as pets.
Now that you guys have an understanding about what is hasty generalization and oversimplification, I would like for you guys to try and answer the following questions. It would be better if you guys pause the video and try answering the questions on your own. This would be to your advantage since you will learn more on how to identify a hasty generalization or an oversimplification. The first question is as follows. Number 1. Why is a hasty generalization a fallacy? A hasty generalization is a fallacy because a conclusion is not logically justified by sufficient or unbiased evidence. Question number 2. How is hasty generalization committed? Hasty generalizations are committed when a person draws a conclusion about a population based on a sample that is not large enough. A hasty generalization usually rests behind a stereotype, that is, a person or event is treated as typical of a whole class. The last question for today is, why is oversimplification not good to use? Oversimplification leads to solving the wrong problems or to focus on wrong goals. By using oversimplification, we might think we are going on the right track, but that is not true. Eventually, real problems don't get solved. If you have any other questions, please comment below. The following answers are related to the first set of questions. Guys, don't be alarmed by the word quiz. It is simply a review of what you should learn when you finish this video. We will start by choosing if the following example is a hasty generalization or an oversimplification. The question is as follows. Number 1. I don't understand how to do my English homework today. I probably won't be able to pass the course since I can't do the homework. Is the following a hasty generalization or an oversimplification? The following quiz question is, global warming is caused by hairspray. Is the following a hasty generalization or an oversimplification? Last question is, well, Farmer McDonald will say, I once owned a Ford and it was junk. Now I only drive Chevys. Identify the hasty generalization in a sentence. The answer for the first question of the quiz is a hasty generalization. The person thinks because he can do one homework, he won't be able to do the rest, which is not true. The answer for the second question is an oversimplification, because it makes global warming seem as if it were a simple problem. The third and the last question of the quiz. The hasty generalization in the sentence identified is, I once owned a Ford and it was junk. Because of one bad experience, he thinks that all Ford vehicles are junk.